2 years ago, Dr. King gave his famous and iconic I Have a Dream speech. Now, this speech was the embodiment of the hopes for changes, that Dr. King wanted to see in the lives of society as a whole and especially in the lives of African Americans. Now, today, 52 years later, we Americans are witnesses of Dr. King's dream becoming a reality. Today, 52 years later, we Americans live in a world where there are no legal support for segregation. We live in a world where I, as a young African American man, can get on a public bus and sit wherever there's an available seat. We live in the era of the manifestation of Dr. King's dream. And then not only do we live in the era of the manifestation of his dream, but we are literally living the dream. And on top of that, not only are we living the dream, but we are the dream. You see, for we are the group of people who are continuing to take a stand against segregation and discrimination. We are the group of people who are continuing to preserve the dream. And that's not always an easy task. You see, because for every dream, there is a dream killer. Haters, if you will. Dr. King had them in his day, and we definitely have them today. You see, but in Dr. King's case, they thought if they could just kill the dreamer, then the dream in turn would die as well. So that's what they did. But what good was killing the dreamer doing if Dr. King had already proclaimed his dream to millions of people who were willing and ready to fight on to see this dream become a reality? And so today, the same way, people feel if they could just kill the sons of the dream, then the dream in turn will crumble. So you have Trayvon Martin and Jordan Davis and Mike Brown, all unnecessary deaths in their subconscious attempt to cause the dream to crumble. But what they don't know was their attempts to kill the dream will only prove it to be more alive and vivid than ever. You see, because for every one of these unnecessary deaths, there were people gathered together of all races, protesting peacefully to assure that this would not happen again. And that was actually a manifestation of Dr. King's dream. You see, because he said in his dream, he said, with this faith, we will be able to struggle together, to work together, to fight together, to go to jail together, knowing that one day we will be free. And so that is actually the manifestation of the dream. But we as Americans have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to educate the next generation, to ensure that they'll be ready to fight on, to keep justice and peace alive. You see, because while segregation is decreasing significantly, it is not yet dead. It's kind of like a cancer patient with chemo. When they take chemo, the cancer is not necessarily gone, but it is in remission. And so, while racism is not completely gone, it is decreasing so that we may live on to be free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.